Welcome to Rad2, another daily reader for Reddit. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. The 2010s decade will be over in 4 months. What do you think people will remember this decade for? The social media explosion. Social media is frickin' insane. It gives the people so much power, and yet it also has so much power to manipulate the people. Harambe lives in our hearts forever. Peace be upon his name. And the 20s will be the implosion. We're already sick of ourselves. Samus_QZ_#frick social media implosion flee it implodes. Follow me on Instagram at Social Implosion and Twitter at Social Implosion, and be sure to like my FB page. I'll be posting this comment about social media being crap on there. Social media employing memes. It's going to be so weird saying the 20s. First group growing up to have a proper decade since the 90s. I miss when people would say things like get with the times, it's the 90s. There may be people alive today who will be saying that again in 80 years. Hello from 2019 if you're reading this then. Put me in the screenshot future. I kind of hope that pinstripe suits and flapper dresses make a comeback. Let's be the change we want to be. Let's bring that crap back. The future's unsettled and nobody knows wherever we're headed or just how it goes. We build for tomorrow as well as we can, for no one is certain. But I have a plan. I'm yearning, returning to previous roots. I'm dancing to jazz and I'm prepping my suits. I'm raring, preparing for Sharon, and then I'm bringing the roar of the 20s again. Fedoras have been ruined beyond repair though. Fedoras without a suit have been ruined. The hat that people picture when you say fedora, or milady for that matter, is actually a trilby, which has a very narrow brim. Even when wearing a suit, a trilby looks somewhat ridiculous unless you live somewhere tropical. A proper fedora has a brim that's about 3 inches wide and should match the suit. Even in those circumstances, the cut of the suit matters. English cut, tight fit and typically 2-button. Suits are in style and tend not to look good with a hat at all. There is some hope for proper hats in general though. The ascot cap has been acceptable casual wear for a few years now, especially in the fall and winter. This has been great for guys who hate baseball caps but also don't have a waifu, don't study there. Blade. It's going to be a decade of people hosting Roaring 20s theme parties. I can live with that, and with any luck I'll be dead by the time we get back to the 70s. We all might be dead if we have to go through the 40s again. Well, we almost got through the 10s without a Spanish flu epidemic or a world war, so there is hope. Measles is back though. And this time, it's personal. The rise of the smartphone. Everyone has access to the internet and can voice their opinion towards the world at any moment, with all the negative effects that it brings. IMHO. This is the biggest one. The iPhone came out in what? 2007. It was a solid year or two before you had traction there. Now, phones have pretty much replaced most people's home computers for menial tasks. I'll tell you this, 2012 was the year the majority of the internet users were on phones, and not laptops or desktops. So the 2010s is the year where the smartphones changed everything. Suddenly kids and old people and tech-illiterate people came to the internet and it's changed everything. I don't like this realization. It didn't even cross my mind to me until reading this post. The 90s are soon 30 years ago. I grew up during the 90s. And for some reason, maybe because Y2K was such a big deal, I just never really thought past the 2000s when I was a kid. Like, I knew I'll probably live to 60 plus, but just never occurred to me that I'll live through another 20s. Or 30s. They just sound like years in history books to me. I was born in 74, so I thought for sure that by 2020 we'd be living like the Jetsons up in here. Maybe it's just me being old, but the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s each seem like distinctly separate periods. The 90s forward feel like one long period. See, I think that sometimes, but then I look at music videos from those years and realize that yeah, they were different. Maybe times are just going faster. Like 2002 feels like a different era than like 2009. And 2013 feels like a different era too. But that doesn't seem too different from today other than the memes. Maybe the music. Politically though, it's a completely different ballpark. I don't know if any of that made sense, but oh well. Just think, 30 years before the 90s was the 60s. Yup, Nirvana's Nevermind album was released closer in time to the first moon landing than to today. Edit. Wow, I go pick up the kids from school and come back to kaboom. Sorry everyone for the bucket of water to the face. I'm 47 and I'm right there with you all. And you know what? Other than those random days when I wake up injured for no damn reason, getting old while riding this crazy ball of dirt is a lot of fun. Some days you'll eat the bear, and some days it will eat you. Just roll with it, man. And thanks for the gold. And by a lot. Moon landing, 1969, Nevermind, 1991, 22 years later, today, 2019, 28 years later. You shut your whore mouth. You stop that. The future is now a old man. If that 70s show was rebooted today, it would be set in 1997. If they wait a couple years, the series could start just like the 70s version, with the characters going to see Star Wars. That 90s show, I'd watch it TBH. I've said it before, but you get the original cast back as the parents and make it a sequel series and I'd watch the crap out of it. Real headlines trying to outdo The Onion. That is the most Onion way of putting it. Kudos. Seriously, just go back and read some Onion articles about GWB. Politics.theonion.com, politics.theonion.com, politics.theonion.com. These are indiscernible from our current reality. That's never going to happen. The Onion headline about the president causing a controversy by drawing on a map with a Sharpie still cracks me up. I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you. Papa Donnie's going to make everything okay. I mean, he scared a hurricane from approaching Alabama. Right. That's why it turned north and totally didn't even head in the direction of the Gulf. Right. Non-American here. What's this a reference to? Been too busy with our own politicians being mental to notice your side of the Atlantic lately. Edit. Thanks for the replies. That's actually amazing. How did he even think that would work and why carry on? It's like a kid having chocolate all over their face saying that they never ate any chocolate. It's a reference to exactly what it says. www.al.com. My favorite is still marijuana overdoses kill 37 in Colorado on first day of legalization. That got shared all over my social media for like the whole year. My mom shared this and she was adamant that it was true. She wouldn't even read the front page of the website, which says it's satire. Lol, for real. I always think it is funny when people ask about how pot has changed Colorado. As a Coloradan who voted for the Amendment 64, it didn't change much in anybody's day-to-day life. People always say it brought tons of people here, but that was happening before 64. You think 10,000 people move to Denver every year from out of state just so they can smoke weed? No, it's because we are an awesome state with lots of jobs, a healthy economy, and progressive leadership brings in young people. My generation is going to be known for wanting to die in memes. Guess we can replace generation for decades. We're the Doomer generation, not the millennials. Or maybe that's Gen Z. IDK. It's all a mess right now. Doomer generation, LMAO. Boomers to Doomers to Zoomers. The Meme Renaissance. Chapter 7. Memes were the quintessential millennial mode of expression, akin to the hieroglyphics of Egypt and the cuneiform tablets of Sumer. Early 21st century internet savants populated their Facebook feeds with fan favorites such as lolcats and Velociraptor. As the trend caught on, memes diversified and developed, getting adopted by such institutions as politics, academia, and postmodern avant-garde expressionism. As memes became more sophisticated, so too did their influence over society. The charged political landscape ignited a trend of weaponizing them for political use, culminating into the bloody meme wars of 2028. Memes became more sophisticated. That might be a stretch. Evolved perhaps, not sophisticated. More sophisticated in the sense that you can show anyone in the world a 2010 meme like bad luck. Brian and Nail at least understand it's supposed to be a joke. Some memes nowadays are like 8 iterations deep, and if you haven't been following them then they make absolutely no sense. You're probably still right. More complicated maybe. At the rate memes are evolving, the meme wars will begin sooner than 2028. Try like 3 years ago. Memes are already a form of political warfare at this point. Begun, the meme wars have started off as image macros, ended as screenshots of tweets. Also from viral videos you'd understand to surreal meme humor. From cats playing with instruments to billverts. Hi, thanks for checking in. I'm Musical Notes, still a piece of garbage musical notes. People are gonna reminisce about how good the 2010s were. They may not seem good now, but just wait to see what the 20s have in store for you. Edit. I hate being right. cool_aid_man.png. Oh crap. Honestly, this happens with anything that happened 20 years ago. I can find forums from the 2000s saying that the 2000s suck. Just for a decade later for them to miss it so much. Nostalgia is just a stupid fad. When the 2030s roll around and people are nostalgic for the 2010s, I'll just laugh in their faces. Anytime I get nostalgic over the I remind myself of that time when I was 12 and unsure if my dad was alive or not on the 9th of November '01. Then watching us invade a country over non-existent WMDs 2 years later. And then watching a lot of my friends' parents lose their jobs in '08. The were an awful freaking time. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. Since many asked, my dad was okay. We're from NJ but he used to commute to NYC. He actually called in sick that day. But back then not every kid had a cell phone and cell lines were down on 9/11 anyways. So I didn't know until I got home from school that he was fine. I feel horrible for not remembering the exact number, but IRC 4 to 5 kids from my middle school lost a parent. Yeah, 90s nostalgia makes sense to me because it was the only decade between the Cold War and the Forever War. It was just a relatively chill time in America. But the early sucked at least as much as the last few years have. Pop culture was atrocious and the news depressing, enraging as hell. Obama, Trump, from 10 now, feels like it's been 2 separate decades during the one. In the US, at least, it's easier to see eras as presidential administrations than as calendar decades. Helps with what to call the early 2000s. 2. Bush, Obama, and Trump have all felt like distinct epochs. People will remember the social media, but I have a very strong feeling nobody's going to give a crap about these influences anymore in the future. That's crazy that she couldn't even sell 36 t-shirts. But the end of the article kind of explains where she went wrong. Seems like she just didn't put much effort into it. A lot of them think their crap is gold and 2 million followers equals all they need. But a minority of them know their followers, and understand how to make a brand and market it properly. I'm following them for their bikini pics. TBH if they're selling something. I'll usually skip those stories. Except when they're wearing a bikini, when I'd watch it in mute. Surprised advertisers didn't realize that. The death of traditional media. Printed newspapers and periodicals, broadcast television and radio are fading. And while digital music way predates the 2010s, it took until this decade for pop stars to stop selling albums. They aren't tallying CD sales anymore. They're counting unique streams. Their death will be in the 20s. They were still huge in the 10s, but began losing their revenue and popularity. I feel the final nail will come sometime around the halfway point. I don't think radio is going anywhere anytime soon. So many people listen to it when driving and construction sites are filled with radios. I can walk from one end of site to the other and not miss a beat because of how many people have radios out, in Canada at least. Looking forward to this thread being unearthed in 2029, smiley face. I hope y'all are doing better than us. 2029 seems like 100 years away, but 2009 to now flew. I hope I'm done college by then and have a job, or I'll be in some trouble lol. The incredible rise of misinformation and irresponsible knee-jerk reaction choices on very serious topics. We did it Reddit. From a design, aesthetic standpoint, minimalism, flat design, mostly due to the rise of tablets and browsing the internet on mobile devices. Clean lines, simple colors like black, white and gray, TV commercials. Early 2010s ads are backed by upbeat xylophone, triangle, whistling, hand-clapping music. Or people breakdancing or doing the worm to obnoxious dubstep music. The late 2010s have vivid colors and imagery, vaporwave style aesthetics, and loud over-the-top spokespeople talking fast in the middle of the screen. Think Captain Obvious from the Hotels.com commercials or Terry Crews from the Old Spice commercials. Entering a new golden age of automotive design. Almost every new car from the decade is elaborately styled car interiors with angular, intricate dashboards, like the Ford Escape, Chevy Equinox or Hyundai Santa Fe. This might end in the 2020s as crash safety technology requires more new cars to look the same, and car interiors will replace dashboards and gauges with touch screens. Thanks, Tesla. A move away from chain restaurants and the rise of food trucks and locally owned restaurants that all feature string lighting, outdoor tables with giant Jenga blocks, Edison bulbs, and a craft beer selection written on a chalkboard. All houses are painted in that Riga color and have all white kitchens with that same white subway tile backsplash. There is probably a barn door, shiplap accent wall, and a fiddle leaf fig inside. A move away from chain restaurants and the rise of food trucks and locally owned restaurants that all feature string lighting, outdoor tables with giant Jenga blocks, Edison bulbs, and a craft beer selection written on a chalkboard. In big cities, that is true. In smaller communities, chain restaurants are more prevalent than ever before. In southern Ontario, communities that had no Tim Hortons a decade ago but had a locally owned mom and pop coffee shop or diner now have Tim Hortons. Brighton, Ilderton, and Komoka are just three of those towns. It's very hard to find locally owned businesses in smaller communities nowadays. At least in Canada. The horrific turn the Area 51 raid took, resulting in hundreds dead and the unleashing of angry, captive aliens upon the world to exact their revenge on humanity. Don't forget the military being defeated by swarms of Naruto runners, leading to new arms limitation treaties banning the use of the Naruto run in any armed conflict. They also banned anime as a result, which caused weebs to flood the streets of Washington, waifu body pillows in hand, and Shinzo Abe to publicly cut all ties with the United States. No one could have predicted the butterfly effect of what ensued following the Area 51 raid. This will be in history books, if we survive that long under our new alien overlords. On the bright side, the aliens disguised as humans finally revealed their identities as a result. Elon Musk was no surprise, but I think we can all agree no one was expecting Todd Howard to be one, opening up a lot of questions about the true nature of Skyrim. I'm getting my passport ready. Hope Japan welcomes me as a refugee of the anime wars. Hey you're finally awake. You were trying to take the direct flight to Japan, right? Walked right into that cavity search. Same as us, and that weeb over there. We've been at war for 18 fricking years. People ask me where I'm going to be in 4 months. I don't have 2020 vision. Jokes. The clown epidemic of 16. That feels like a fever dream we all collectively had. Thanks for watching Rad 2. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. If you like these videos, check out the original Rad channel, Rad